This video is my first impressions of Microsoft Flight Simulator on the PC. So I'm a little bit biased, and I take that with a grain of salt as I go through this. So I've been an Xplane guy since Xplane 9, and we're going into Xplane 12. I don't remember exactly what it was like getting started using Xplane. I don't remember the exact level of intuitiveness that it took to get used to using it in the first place. But as an Xplane guy, I wanted to kind of give my thoughts on Microsoft Flight Simulator and going into that. So first of all, I've used Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I've never actually downloaded it and tried, setting it up and getting all this stuff on my flight simulator to work with Microsoft Flight Simulator. This video is me just giving you my thoughts. The install itself went, pretty smooth. I was able to get into Steam really easily and just download it. I think I got the deluxe version for like $47 or something. It was a pretty good deal. That was the version that came with the Cessna 172, which is what this thing over here, what that panel is designed for. So Microsoft Flight Simulator does this thing where it kind of installs and deinstalls graphics packages as needed depending on where you're going, and that works pretty good as long as you have fast internet. It told me that I was good enough to run full graphics package, so I said okay, let's do that. The graphics card is a NVIDIA GeForce 3080, and I've got an i9 processor in there, so it's running pretty good. It recognized my flight controls, so the throttle quadrant, the pedals, the rudder pedals, and the yoke. It recognized all those right away. I didn't have to go through and do any kind of calibration. I didn't have to do any of that, which was great. I got in and started flying, and it worked. I'll get to that in a second. I've got a lot of other things that are plugged in via USB that it did not recognize, to include the flaps panel, trim wheel. It did not recognize. It said this is the trim wheel. It did not bind the trim switch or the trim wheel to the actual trim of the aircraft. That's probably one of my biggest gripes. It did not seem very intuitive. What bothered me was what the key bindings were to begin with. It starts telling you what to do next. It starts giving you prompts and saying this is what you need to do now. Remove your parking brake. So I was like, all right, yeah, okay, wait. I can't find the parking brake. So it's like, what's the key binding for that? Turns out the key binding is control numlock. Look at this keypad. Look at this. There's no number keypad on here, so my other keyboard's the same over here. It's similar. There's no keypad. There's no numlock. So I'm sitting there trying to play this thing for the first time, trying to take the brakes off of an aircraft that I'm not really that familiar with and can't take the brakes off because there's no brakes in the aircraft to take off, and there's no key binding that I can even use to take the brakes off, and I don't know where to go to change the key bindings in the first place. So I think what's going to be really handy for this particular setup, just like it would be an Xplane if I set that up at some point, would be using Elgato Stream Deck so that I can have little key buttons next to me set for specific things, and I can key bind that to do specific things, and I go, that's my brake. It doesn't have to be control numlock. You can make it whatever you want. That's why I said it's not a huge deal. Something else was on the B button. It's kind of playing a game of what key bindings am I going to use, which ones am I not going to use. I think they hit the nail on top of the head with Xplane 11 and the way the controls feel for a particular aircraft. I think they did a really good job. Not that it was bad, it was really easy to fly inside of Microsoft Flight Simulator. It was so stiff. I didn't have to give it a lot of back pressure, but to get the thing to rotate, it just felt stiff. It just didn't feel like what I'm used to. That's probably more of the issue. My first impressions overall, I think it's probably fine. I think the graphics are great. I think it's just going to take some time to get used to. I'm going to have to go through one thing at a time. Can I get the touchscreen to work? Can I get the flaps to work? How do I do this? How do I get these different items to work on this aircraft using this software, which I'm not familiar with? I said it up front. I'm probably going to be a little bit Xplane biased because I'm just not used to Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I think it has a lot of great qualities and features that I would like to learn more about. I want to see if it's something that I can get used to and play a little bit more with it. Honestly, I'd like to play with better graphics. To me, Xplane is an instrument trainer. It's not there for graphics and graphic representation of the world. So lots of great things to come. Hopefully, as I continue to go through the setup, I can document those things and bring those back to you guys And hopefully you guys don't think I'm sitting there complaining, especially you guys who are total Microsoft Flight Simulator maxis. That's fine. Do your thing. Be great with that. So graphics, major plus. Intuitiveness, so far, not great. It takes a little bit of time, but I just found the menu system and the intuitiveness and the settings just feel a lot easier to manipulate on Xplane. Great times. I know there's a lot of capabilities with it. I hope to be able to live up to those capabilities, so we'll see how it goes. Thank you for watching. If you guys want to see more, hit that like, subscribe button, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right. Hey, if you haven't already done so, head over to EliteSimBuild.com, grab a copy of our Home Flight Simulator resource guide. Do that thing where you click the button, give us your email address, and we will send you a copy of our simulator guides where you can get the resource list, the avionics reviews, a panel blueprint, so that way you guys can send that off to your panel guy, get all the parts and pieces that you need. You'll know exactly what software to pick up so you can get your Cessna 172 flight simulator built today.